Blog Talk Radio.
It's time for Anime-Zing Radio here on the Blog Talk Radio Network with your host, Doug Engler.
Anime-Zing Radio is brought to you tonight by Casey Creations. For all of your artwork, cosplay, and cosplay accessory needs, check out www.kaycreations.weebly.com or search Casey Creations on Etsy. We're also brought to you tonight by HomeCircleMedia.com for the latest and greatest in anime gear, everything from pens, pencils, stationery, and officially licensed art books. Check out HomeCircleMedia.com today or look for them at an upcoming convention. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Anime-Zing Radio here on the Blog Talk Radio Network. We are doing a 1-hour special. I am extremely excited about this. I've been looking forward to this for like 3 weeks or even longer. I think it's been about a month since I came up with the idea of doing this show. And we are focusing on the anime New Game. And we are so excited because we have 3 amazingly talented guests with us from New Game. We want to welcome Megan Shipman, who voices Aoba Suzukaze, Bryn Apprill, who voices Nene, and Michelle Rojas, who voices Ko Yagami, to the show. Thank you so much, ladies, for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's super exciting.
Mm-hmm.
And for the listeners out there who may not have seen New Game, I think it's best if Aoba, our main focus of the show, tells everybody a little bit about the show.
Okay, so New Game is a show about a girl named Aoba Suzukaze. Did I say New Game? Yes, I said
What?
New Game. Good. I'm sorry. Okay, let me start over. So, way to start. Good job, Megan. So the show New Game is about a girl named Aoba Suzukaze, and she graduates high school and she goes to work for a video game company named Eagle Jump because when she was younger, she played a video game named Fairy Story, and it inspired her. The art inspired her to want to be a character designer, just like the person she looks up to, Ko Yagami. So she applies, she gets the job, and it starts on her first day of work. And the show is all about her adventures in the office and meeting Ko and becoming friends with everyone and just kind of going through life. And that's it. Good job.
And of course, she's a big fan of Ko Yagami's work, and she gets to meet Ko. And we are excited to have Ko Yagami joining us as well with Michelle Rojas. What was your impressions of New Game?
New Game is a great show. I personally really like slice of life type stuff. So I thought it was a lot of fun to work on. The humor of it is very chill, and the first season is a lot about Aoba growing and Ko sort of teaching her the ropes, how to get along in the game company. And then in season 2, they get to expand on that even more, and there's a little more drama brought to the table. So it was a lot of fun to work on. We've wrapped it at this point. All the dubbing is done. I think even the last episode of season 2 came out on dub either today or recently. So definitely check it out. And it was a lot of fun to work on, honestly. Also, one of my really good friends, Clifford Chapin, is the one who directs it. So it's always great to get to work with him on a project.
Awesome. And I know I watched episode 23 today because they've been dropping them on Tuesdays at 4 p.m. Eastern.
Okay.
And so I think there's one more episode to come.
Okay.
Yes.
And of course, Aoba's childhood best friend, Nene, gets to come to work for the company in the first season as a game tester. And what was it like for you, Bryn, to be a part of this show?
Oh my gosh, I love Nene. She's just this little weirdo, and I love playing little weirdos. It always put me in a good mood anytime I got to come in and work on her. She just says and does the weirdest things. And I just have a soft spot in my heart for characters like that.
Now, was it a challenge to decide which characters you wanted to go for when you were auditioning for New Game?
Personally, it wasn't. When I read the description for Ko, I was immediately like, this is definitely my top choice. Like, this is totally in my wheelhouse. And I, of course, auditioned for other characters because you never know exactly what the director wants. But when I sort of saw Ko and I saw what her character was, it like super clicked, and so that was definitely no contest there for me anyway. Yeah, I was kind of the same way. I didn't know what to expect because this is a great story. I told Cliff I originally wasn't even going to get to audition for the show. And I told Cliff one day, I saw him at Funimation, and I said, hey, Cliff, guess what? I quit my job. And he was like, oh, okay, why don't you audition for my show? So I auditioned for the show, and when I auditioned, I read for Aoba, and, you know, Aoba is just that protagonist girl that I was like, oh, she's so cute. And I didn't realize right away, I guess, how much I would, relate to her. But then I also, I said, if I get anything, I honestly thought, I was like, if I get anything, it's going to be Nene, because that's like, I always do, people always put me as like the high-pitched, like crazy child for some reason, but I was like, whatever, I'll just read for Aoba too, and then a couple of others. But then as the show went on, and I learned more about Aoba and who she was and what she was about, because she starts off as kind of just your generic girl, but as I learned more about her, I clicked a lot more with her, and I love her so much.
For me, I definitely had the most fun auditioning for Nene. I was pretty sure I wasn't going to get, like for example, Ko. I was like, that's just not my wheelhouse. Yeah, but I definitely had the most fun with Nene, so I was hoping for her. So it worked out. Yay! It was meant to be.
And I know for you, Megan, when your character first meets Ko and is working, Ko is sleeping in pantsless, we'll just say, and happens to do that quite often at the office. Is that something that you can imagine actually happening at a video game company, or?
I mean, I think it's really funny in the show. I think it's hysterical. And Ko's just like, hey, yeah, what's up? I run this place, and I am in my underwear. And I mean, I don't know if it would actually happen. I think, I mean, I know people work a lot in Japan and work themselves to the bone. I don't know if anybody would sleep in their underwear. But I love the comedy of it in the show, and I love how Ko is just like, yeah, whatever, who cares? It always cracked me up.
I'm so professional.
She's such a professional. What an idol to aspire to be. Always. Well, you know what's interesting about that is that, I mean, at Funimation, I have walked into a studio and have had people sleeping in the studios. Oh
yeah.
Which is like people will do that, especially if they, you know, if they're driving from Houston or something, and they have downtime between, and the studios nowadays are so full all the time, you don't really see that anymore. But you know, back when they weren't so slammed, like you could sometimes go into a studio, and if there was nothing scheduled in there, someone might be sleeping, just because it's so quiet. But I'm pretty sure she always sleeps in her underwear because she knows the entire department is other girls, and so she can get a little more comfortable there.
I have definitely been one of those sleeping people, just saying.
Yeah.
And I once again want to thank all of you for joining us tonight. And we want to thank everybody that has tuned in the chat room, including 3.5 Geeks, Alexman, and Mario Tanaka. Thank you all for joining us tonight. If you have any questions for our guests, as long as they're new game related, feel free to ask. I will be monitoring the chat room on and off all night during the show. And with New Game, I'll be honest, it's not the normal type of show that I watch. I do like some slice of life, but I like the harem style, I like comedy, I like some action, stuff like that. But I fell in love with the idea of showing the behind the scenes of how video games are made. And that concept is what drew me in. And then I fell in love with the characters.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I remember when we started the show, I know even Cliff at first, the director, was like, yeah, I mean, I don't understand why the show is so popular, like, because the whole first season was out at that point, and, people were already talking and buzzing about it, and he was like, I don't understand it yet. I don't get it yet. And I was kind of I was like, I mean, yeah, it's cute, but, like, what else could it offer other than cute? And then I was so wrong. And and it's so nice, and the story is just really good, and it kind of it sucks you in one way or the other.
It's relatable.
Yeah, it's very relatable.
And with the show, like you said, having been popular for a while before it came out, I remember seeing Funimation announce they were dropping the first 6 episodes of season 1 and then the second 6 episodes of season 1 as they were getting ready to start releasing the simuldubs. What was it like as the voice actors to go in there? Did you have to record a bunch of episodes on top of all of the simuldubbing of the other shows that you were a part of at the time, or?
Yes. Well, yeah. All of it was happening at the same time. New Game season 1, they wanted to get all of that out before the next season so that they could simuldub the next season. So it was really, I wouldn't say rushed, but we just had a lot of work to do. And so, you would go in for hours and hours of New Game and then whatever else you were also doing at the same time. So my weeks were pretty full for a little while there.
You're always working on multiple projects.
For a couple weeks, I was exclusively coming in for New Game, and I remember a few weeks in, Cliff just looked at me and was like, okay, you just need to go sleep. Because Aoba has so much energy, and I wasn't giving her enough energy. He kept having to be like, okay, another one, and I need more energy. And I was like, I'm trying so hard. He was like, great, go home and sleep. And I was like, okay, I'll try. Yeah, so we are always working on multiple projects, all the time. But just because of how quickly they needed all of that to be done, we just happened to have more hours on that particular project.
And what is it like to be a part of a show that, in my opinion, it's going to take off? I don't think it's getting the love it truly deserves. I've seen a couple of Facebook pages that have been New Game dedicated, but I think this show is a lot better than most people will give it credit for. But then again, I fell in love with the show probably within the first 2 episodes of season 1, so I'm a little biased. But what is it like to be a part of a show like this that is so much slice of life? I can talk, honest. And Michelle, this is how I normally roll. I screw up at least 10 to 15 times a show in a 2-hour period, so being condensed.
Hey man, I will too. It's all good. I mean, we heard my wonderful introduction earlier.
And But being a part of New Game, what are some of your favorite moments from the show?
Man, it's hard to pick.
Personally, I love Nene and Umiko's interactions. Those are like little precious moments for me.
That's the most like unlikely pair I ever would have imagined. Like, spending time together and actually liking each other somewhat.
Me.
And we have comments in the chat room. We have Bobby Break in the chat room who says he loves how Nene is always so dramatic.
Oh, yes.
If you look up dramatic, there's a picture of Nene right next to the word.
Oh, really?
Especially in season 2.
Oh, really?
She has
Come on.
the best faces.
Oh,
It's
really?
amazing.
Oh, my God.
I like it when Nene, like, casually stalks people in the show, and she's just, like, wearing sunglasses, and she's like, here I come, but you can't see me behind this pole that you obviously can see me behind.
Stealth.
Master Ninja.
I thought of a moment that I love. And Megan, you'll remember this one. It's one where she walks out with the gun and like everything's like on the news.
Oh yes, you mean when they're?
Oh
like,
yeah, that's
going
great.
home?
That seems so good.
Moment.
That's probably the best moment. I love that. Everyone's just drunk, and I'm like, no, there's no problem here, officer. There's nothing to see here.
I remember that.
And then Nene's like, I have a gun. You're really diffusing the situation there, Nene. Thank you.
And question in the chat room, Bobby Break wants to know, who do you guys ship on the show?
Oh.
I mean,
Boy.
I'll take the low hanging fruit and just say, Ko and Reen are just like star-crossed lovers.
I'd say they're the most
point.
canon. They're the most canon out of everyone.
Right. Like, it's very obvious that that's a real thing for Reen, you know,
yes,
like
in
the show.
She had so much jealousy in the second season.
Oh, yeah.
Crazy.
Oh, yeah.
She's like, oh, you didn't eat my food, but you ate this girl's food. Okay.
But it's funny because I feel like in season 1 it's very much like Ko and Reen, but then in season 2 we start sneaking in like a little bit of Aoba and a little bit of Hifamine, and so it's kind of like like.
And you can see a little bit of Hajime and Yoon as well.
Oh yeah, Hajime and Yoon are cute. They're adorable.
Oh yeah.
I always loved how Yoon was like, I'm not into this stuff, and then you like see her going to like the Sparkle Moon Ranger movie with her little siblings, and she actually likes it too. It's so funny. That always cracks me up. I'm like,
buy all the merch.
And then I know in season 2 they brought on a couple of new characters as well. What was it like having the having to interact with characters Momiji and I'm gonna butcher the name, Tsubame.
Yeah.
I am horrible at reading these names, and I just watched the episodes. I watched another anime right after, so
it disappeared from your brain.
The new girls are great.
The new girls were interesting. They added a new dynamic that, especially I know with Momo, Momiji, whatever her name is. Aoba called her like 3 different things. For Aoba, it was like she had somebody that wanted the same thing as her, so Aoba had to. Aoba was a little more like, I don't want to say like assertive, but she kind of was. She was very much like, oh, that's cute. You want to do this? Too bad. I'm already here, and I'm going to do it, and good luck trying to beat me. And I was like, oh, dang, Aoba, all right, getting a little intense here. But so it was like, it kind of like showed this competitive side to Aoba because she didn't have that before. She was just like, I want to be as good as you, and I love you, Ko. But now she's like, I'm sorry, you can't be the best because I'm the best.
I love that you said it brought out a new side of her. Like, I feel like it did the same with Nene. Like, usually Nene is, like, the immature, like, goofy one. But I was so proud of her. She really, like, took the high road and ended up helping Tsubame even after, you know, she hadn't been treated the best by her. And I thought that was really big of her, and I loved that she did that anyway.
And one thing that is fun about the show is you get to see such an arc in the characters, especially season 1 into season 2. You get to have the like almost a personal connection with the characters as they grow, and you enjoy watching the stuff that they go through. Like season 1 was very focused, you know, it's Aoba's first job, and then first paycheck, and then first, you know, this and that, and then it gives you an idea. I thought that New Game really did an amazing job at showing the watchers, you know, what it's like behind the scenes at a video game company. And I could see some ways in which I think it would relate to anime in general, especially young voice actors who may have just gotten a part of their first anime. They're going to their first convention to meet people who like the show, things of that nature.
Yeah, it's definitely a cool thing to see the behind the scenes stuff, and I think it also sort of exemplifies like there's so much that goes on that you don't even think about is a thing, you know, to create different things. So even though this is looking at a video game company specifically, it gives you kind of a glimpse that, oh, there's all these different departments, there's all these different cogs in this wheel. And that applies to anime too. Like there's so many people that work to put out these titles. It is a pretty cool thing to be able to look into that a little bit. Yep, and that's another reason. Like the more I got to know Aoba and the more she kind of went through things, I also I related to her whole arc because you know I recently, I just had my first, full-time job only, 3 years ago. And so, even though I wasn't, working at a video game company, I recognized all those things that she was going through. And I was like, oh, my God, I did all that, too. And I felt like an idiot, too, just like Aoba. And I tried to look like I was really cool, too, because I didn't want to look like an idiot. And so... the more she went through, I was like, yeah, wow, cool. This is like me. And it was good.
And we have a couple of minutes before we got to go to a commercial break. And once again, thank you to everybody who's tuning in tonight, whether you're in the chat room at blogtalkradio.com/Anime-Zing Radio or you're listening to us via one of the mobile apps that carries Blog Talk Radio. Thank you so much for tuning in to our New Game special, where we are featuring 3 of the amazingly talented voice actresses from the show, Michelle Rojas, Megan Shipman, and Bryn Apprill. The show, nearing its end for season 2, I really hope there's a season 3. I know we were talking a little bit about some of your favorite moments. Since the show has come out, have you received a lot of feedback from fans about whether they love it or seen people cosplaying from the show?
Oh my gosh, yes. I think one of the sweetest things was I posted on Twitter after I wrapped my part of the show, and it was a sad day for me. I was like, thank you guys, I wrapped New Game, and I got so many tweets just saying oh my God, thank you for doing this and thank you for doing that and that. All the just positivity and support I got just from saying just from me saying, hey, I had fun, I hope I did a good job, and everyone was like, oh my God, blah 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 blah. It it made me I was like, oh my God, it made me really happy that day because I was sad because I finished, but then I was so happy to see that everyone was so supportive and so happy and loved what we were doing, and it was nice. It was a good, warm, fuzzy feeling in my heart.
And we've got to go to our bottom of the hour break, but when we come back, we're going to have more with Megan, Bryn, and Michelle, more fun with new game. So stay tuned for more Anime-Zing Radio right here on the Blog Talk Radio Network.
Let's go. そうな日いつも悩んで誰もあなたを理解してくれないみんなにいつもあしらわれていて行き先決めずただ歩いてるだけど君のできることはあるこれはあなただけのストーリーさあページをめくってみるのよ新しい旅始まる時々何をしていてもうまくいかない時もある何度も失敗を繰り返すこともあるそことは時に辛いのよ理想を捨てずに諦めないでもう少しで夢が叶うのよ今ここで全て諦めたらいかにも見える
Looking for anime-themed school or office supplies? Home Circle Media's got them. Our binders, notebooks, folders, and sketchbooks are both fun and practical, featuring colorful graphics from your favorite shows. We also carry an ever-changing selection of official art and guidebooks. From gorgeous full-color illustrations to line drawings and storyboards, go behind the scenes for a look at how your favorite characters and worlds were created. Visit www.homecirclemedia.com today or catch us on Facebook, Twitter, or YouTube.
Hey convention goers, are you looking for a costume for your next convention? A fursuit or perhaps cosplay accessories such as animal ears and tails? Maybe you're looking for that one-of-a-kind art piece of your favorite anime or video game character. Look no further. Check us out at www.kaycikreations.weebly.com or our online store at www.etsy.com/shop/KC And be sure to use the code AZR10, all capital letters, for $10 off any of our art commission offers. KC Creations is a proud sponsor of Anime-Zing Radio, here on the Blog Talk Radio Network.
Hello, my name is Aoba Suzukaze from New Game. It's nice to meet you, and you're listening to Anime-Zing Radio.
And welcome back to Anime-Zing Radio here on the Blog Talk Radio Network. We want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight. If you're in the chat room, if you're listening to us via mobile app, thank you so much for taking an hour out of your night to hang out with us. I'm your host, Doug Engler. Joining us tonight are three amazingly talented voices from the New Game anime series, including Megan Shipman, who voices Aoba Suzukaze, who we just heard, Michelle Rojas, the voice of Ko Yagami, and of course, Bryn Apprill, the voice of Nene Sakura. So welcome back, ladies. We are so excited that you're able to join.
Hello. Awesome. Thanks.
And a question that just came through the chat room, which always pops into my head when I talk to voice actors, they wanted to know, were there any booth bombs recording New Game, if you can talk about them?
I mean, yes. I think so. Like, I don't think there's any reason not to.
It's Cliff. There are going to be bombs.
I have a terrible memory, and I can never remember them. I just remember, I think one time in the booth, I think like Ko, I can't remember if it was the first or second season. It was probably the first. Like Ko says something to Aoba, and then she just walks away, and Aoba turns around and is like, "Why don't you say that? Why are you leaving?" Like something like that. And instead, I said something like, "Why don't you come back and say that to my face, you hoe?" or something like that. It was so funny. Because Aoba had no lip flap, so so it was perfect. She was just angry.
I feel like I got a lot left for me. And, of course, like, Cliff and the engineer will know that they're in there, but they don't say anything to me. So we'll be previewing or we'll be going in to record. And so we'll start doing it, and then a bomb will come up. I'm just like, I'm done. Like, I laugh every time. Like, I can't just ignore it. Like,
she does because Cliff would always be like, hey, listen to what Michelle did on your bomb that you left for her, always.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure there was not a single one you didn't just, like, give up. You're like, I'm done.
Yeah. But I feel like Kristen left a lot for me, Azreen. So usually those bombs were a lot like really leaning into the whole relationship. A lot of just like, why don't you love me, and just those sorts of things. It's what I was often met with when I went to record.
I remember some, but I can't say them on the show because they're not appropriate. I can't.
Yep.
Yeah, I didn't make that one.
Be the way of the bombs.
Because, man, it was a great one, and it was good, and it was for you, Michelle. And I'm sure you'll remember it if I told you, but I can't say it because it's too inappropriate.
We might have to do this again, 18-plus panel style. But I've honestly been tossing around the idea of doing, like, once a month a Tuesday night 18-plus style show where, anything goes. I'm not sure how people would take that. And I think it would be a fun concept, especially seeing how popular 18-plus panels are at anime and comic conventions. So it might be something we look at in the future. And then you can just tell stories about some of your best bombs, and people can laugh at the stuff that they can't hear on the family-friendly version.
There are some good ones. I'll tell you that. They were quite hysterical, to me anyway.
And we had a reaction in the chat room. When I played the Aoba show ID, they were freaking out, loving the fact of getting the character voice in there. And I think Electman would have loved an 18-plus version of the show. And one thing I've always wondered about, and I asked this question to a lot of different voices because I'm just weird, and it's something I would do, but have you ever had the urge of, going out to a drive-thru or something like that and ordering your food in character?
I personally haven't, but I'm like weird socially, so that's just like a thing I don't want to deal with. Like, if I'm going out, first of all, I barely leave my house. I can't handle the outside world. So, like, when I go to order something, I'm just like, all right, I'm getting the number 6, and I want this with it. And that's like all I'm like thinking of the entire time until I order. So I would just like not be able to handle like, and usually when I order too, I order in like a really high pitched like sweet voice, and I don't know why. It just happens.
It's like that thing it's like that thing how when your mom is angry at you and you're a kid and she's like yelling at you and the phone rings and then she's like, oh yes, hello. Yeah, exactly. Like that's exactly what it is.
I love it when fans are surprised that, like, so many of us are so introverted and, like, socially awkward, and they're like, what? You're an actor.
I mean, I'm the actor that gets in a tiny, dark room and doesn't have to talk to other people.
Right?
Right. Exactly.
I'm like, all in college, my friends were like, I went to LSU, so we were like an hour away from New Orleans, and all my friends from Mardi Gras were like, yeah, let's go to New Orleans for Mardi Gras. And I was like, I'm just going to stay here, and I'm going to just watch anime, because that's literally all I did in college. Like, I'm just going to watch anime this weekend. I'm good.
And I know Megan that you are a fan of cosplaying. Bryn and Michelle, do you guys cosplay as well, or?
I have in the past, but really nowadays when I do go to a convention, I'm usually just so tired that I just don't have the energy to walk around in a costume, because a lot of times they're kind of cumbersome to wear. And you have a lot of people coming up and asking for photos and stuff like that. And I really just don't, I would still like to, but generally I just don't have the energy to do it.
It is tiring.
Yeah. I have once. I'd like to do it again, but it also tends to be a little bit pricey to do. So that's a concern. It's not something that I feel like I could do like all the time.
I definitely spend way too much money on lots of anime stuff, cosplay included, and that's why I'm poor. So at least I've just accepted my poorness, and
but I have so many outfits.
I have so many outfits that I just can wear to a convention.
I know the poor side of things. Even though I was on a limited budget, I still managed to spend like $80 up in New Hampshire over the weekend on figures. Most of it was on raffle stuff and soda, but I did figure grab bag and got a character from, I think it's like Cantilly Collection, the anime about battleship girls.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it yet. I want to, because I'm a fan of like Girls on Panzer and Strike Witches franchise, because I know there's Brave Witches as well, and I really enjoyed all of that.
Woo, Strike Witches.
That was a crazy show. That was actually my number 2 anime for a long time.
Nice.
Because I was weird and had a top 5 list of my favorite animes, which number 1 has not changed since I watched it probably close to 10 years ago now, I think. That one's Rosario Vampire. That was not my first anime, but was the first anime I watched when I started going into the divorce proceedings and deciding, marriage is falling apart and stuff like that. And so I was able to escape into the fantasy world of vampires and werewolves and succubus and crazy stuff like that. And I'm a paranormal geek anyway, so as some of our listeners might or might not know, I've been a paranormal investigator on and off for over 20 years.
Yeah, nice.
And that's actually how I started doing internet radio, was talking paranormal, and then it's like, I like anime. Maybe I can do an anime show.
It evolved.
3.5 years later, we have this one. Crazy how things happen. And I always love hearing stories of how you guys got started in voice acting. I've heard some really wacky stories, like Tatum was basically tricked into it. Morgan Berry, I believe, won a contest at HaberCon. Michelle, how did you get started in the voice acting world?
Mine is kind of weird, and it definitely wasn't anything like immediate like that. Mine was more, I did a lot of acting, and I actually did a lot of commercial VO, but I started taking some other courses. I was taking a lot of different acting classes, and I knew about Funimation. My husband works there, but I didn't want him to be involved in me doing any work for the company, because it's this weird thing of, you don't want it to reflect badly on his position or anything like that. So I kind of waited until one of my acting instructors was like, hey, I think you should really do this. I want to give you a referral. And what happened. So they referred me to Mike McFarlane, and then that was my first session was with him. And then after that, I just started getting more work.
Awesome.
I know it's not that interesting.
It shows that there are steps involved, because a lot of people, want to say, oh, I can be a voice actor. I want to run right in. I don't know why I can't just come right in and do this job. Because what I'm doing is in a room reading lines and talking into a mic, but people don't understand there's a lot more that leads up to it. And you guys really put in a lot of time, effort, and energy into becoming the characters that we see on screen. And we did have a question that came into the chat room. Bobby Break wants to know, since doing the show New Game, has that made any of you want to create a video game of your own? And if so, what would it be like?
I am not technically savvy enough to do a video game. That would be biting off way more than I could chew.
I know. I don't think I could wrap my head around all of the advanced technical aspects that go into like designing a game and things like that. It would be too much for my little brain to comprehend.
I'm actually on the other side of the spectrum. I'm very technically. I enjoy technical things. So I actually like programming and stuff like that. But as far as undertaking a project like that, it just seems like too much for me to handle still. But I used to be really involved with indie visual novels and stuff, with programming and script editing and things like that. I used to do that a lot, but then, as work has taken over my life and I have no free time anymore, that is no longer the case. But I used to do stuff like that, yeah.
That's cool. I have no tech savvy at all. I'm lucky I know how to turn on a laptop and click a couple of websites and do the show. So if there's any technical issues, I am so in trouble. I sit here panicking, going, oh my God, I was talking to Bryn was the first person that we had called. And I'm like, Bryn, if for some reason you can't hear me, because we've had issues on the laptop a couple of weeks ago where the microphone stopped working and I had to literally call my cell phone to bring me onto the show. So it's like, if you can't hear me, let me know on Facebook and I will make sure I call myself so we can actually get the show and everybody can hear us. Because I'm good at the goofball. I'm good at the, as Bryn and Megan know, I suffer from shiny object syndrome, something fierce. So bouncing between tabs and making sure everything's going good. Sometimes I get sidetracked. At least I don't have any windows around me to be like, oh, look at that. It's a squirrel.
I mean, I'd love to do what Nene did in first season and just play through the games. And if there's a bug, be like, y'all need to fix this. Like, that would be fun. But
and I know that very often you guys are asked to speak in character. And I know that when we played the Aoba show ID, they loved it in the chat room. I didn't know if you guys wanted to say a couple of lines in character from the show for our listeners out there.
That's kind of hard because Ko just is my normal voice. So I don't know what to do. It's funny because there's another group that does a podcast, and I think their description of Ko and of me playing Ko was, it sounds like Michelle just walks in the booth and says some words and leaves. And kind of like, that's kind of it. I just come in and say a thing that I would probably say, and then I just go home. And
give me my money.
Featuring Michelle Rojas, playing Michelle Rojas.
Yeah, like that. So, yeah. But I don't know.
It's funny you say that because our guest this Sunday is going to be Anthony Bowling, and when we talk to him, all I can hear in his normal voice is Junichiro from Ultimate Otaku Teacher.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Because he said that's just his normal voice. That is him to a T.
That's how he sounds.
That's all I can hear. And I know he's going to be coming up to a convention up in New England soon, up at Anime-Zing on the weekend of November, I think 10, 11, and 12.
Yeah, I think that's kind of surprising for people when, especially when they meet like Monica Rial, where her voice is just high. Like she just has a high voice. Or when people meet Natalie Hoover, that's just they sound like that. Like it's not a thing that they do. They just talk like that.
They just have money voices.
Somebody like mind fart.
I do
that. Monica Rial.
I'll be talking. And my brain's like, no, you don't need to say that anymore.
But like when talking about Monica Rial, how she has that sweet high pitched voice, and then you watch something like Penny in Stocking, and people are like, "Whoa, that's Monica."
Or Michiko and Hachin, that one is like
insane
that
it's
Monica.
Like she uses her lower register, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You know, I did that with for New Game. I did that with Tia. Like when I first heard Tia as Hajime, I was like, "Who? What is this voice?" This is not
really.
This is not Tia. This is not Tia voice. And I was like, I mean, it sounds like Tia, but I've never heard Tia use a voice like that. So I was like, whoa, like what's happening? What world? What dimension am I in right now?
I'll be honest, I have listened to 2 seasons of that show, and until I just pulled the New Game character cast list up on Behind the Voice Actors, I had no clue that was Tia either.
Yeah, it's Tia Ballard, and you're like, what world is this where Tia's using her low voice? What's happening? But it sounds so good as Hajime. It does.
She did a great job with Hajime, and I'm looking at the cast list. And such an amazing cast. You guys were, like you said, Clifford Shipman was awesome with the directing of it. Like it's definitely one of my. I would definitely put it in my top 5 favorite animes of all time right now.
Oh,
because I like the show that much. It's been a while since I've been this addicted to it. And one of the funniest characters in the show that probably doesn't have a speaking role, but always seems to appear for comic relief or just the typical I am here, I am fat, I am lazy, just love me, is Mozoku, the office cat.
Yes!
Mozoku. Oh, Mozoku. What a
there have been many moments.
And it's almost like you ask a question and the cat just answers.
I mean, Mozoku is like exactly like my cat in real life. I post pictures of him on Twitter. He is a mouse. He's a 30-pound cat. And when I talk to him, he talks back to me. Like I taught him to respond somehow. He just kind of started doing it. But like if you talk to him, he'll meow back at you every time. So I love Mozoku because he's so much like my cat. It's insane.
And we only have a few minutes. We have about 6 minutes left of the show. I want to make sure that I give each of you a chance to promote yourself, any upcoming shows or conventions that you're going to be at. We call this our shameless plugging section, and we're doing it a little earlier than normal because we have 3 talented ladies with us. So why don't we start with Michelle?
Oh, man. We're kind of between seasons, so if I am casting something, I don't know it. Man, I don't know what to promote. You guys can follow me on Twitter. I post on there a lot. I usually just complain about time coding. You can follow me at Little Ramyun. That's little, just like Little, and Ramyun as in Korean ramen, Ramyun. And that's what I'm most active on.
And Bryn?
Sac Anime and Klexicon. I will be there with my lovely lesbian lover from Attack on Titan, Elizabeth Maxwell. You should come and see us. It will be amazing. You can also follow me on Twitter. I am not very good about posting on there, but I do tend to say things from time to time, so still follow me.
And Megan?
You can follow me on Twitter at 18, the number 18, and Moptop, MOPTOP. Don't ask me why I came up with that stupid name when I was in high school. I did, and I kept it. I thought it'd be a great idea to use that as my professional Twitter account. But I'm also going to be, not as a guest, but if you're in the North Texas area or you come to North Texas Cons, I'm going to be at Anime North Texas with the dance group I am with, the Love Live dance group I'm a part of, and we're having a panel soon. We don't know exactly what time it's going to be at, but so we'll be there. So if you want to just come say hi to me, I'll be hanging around that con with my group. And yeah, if you follow my Twitter, I'll be posting all about it soon, I'm sure, because I love talking about everything in my life, it feels like. But yeah, so that's about it for me.
I just thought of another thing.
Go ahead.
Everybody should go and download the app Unlocked, because so many of us are getting unlocked accounts, and you can start chatting with us, and we do little live videos. So go download the app. Bryce and Dave made it, and it's amazing. So do that.
Yeah, I've been on there too, and I've been really bad the last couple of weeks. I've just been busy, and I haven't been on there, but I've used it, and it's really fun. So you should go download it.
I'm sad because they don't have it for the Galaxies yet.
I know.
Yeah, I don't have it because I have a Google phone.
Android, why?
But also check out Anime Unlocked on Facebook. Join the page. They have a lot of content they put up there. I did talk to them about if it was okay to do the promotion of the show. They were against it because they don't want self-promotion on the site, which is completely understandable. That's why I asked first. I want to show professional courtesy to everybody that I talk to, whether or not they're directly involved with the show or not. And it's an amazing site. You get interactions from all of your favorite voice actors. Sharmi Lee tries to do, I think she does a daily show where she's something that she's grateful for.
Love and
she's
Light.
Got a nice clip. Love and Light. You can see different things from, I forget who it is, but one of the voice actors will eat something different from Japan every week, and so much random awesomeness on the show. You get to see some behind the scenes things of what goes on in the booth and at Funimation, and follow us where you can. I'm also on Instagram and Twitter. I do Twitter a little bit more than Instagram, so enjoy us. Thank you so much to our wonderful guests. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks
for having us. Yeah, thank you.
And this is Anime-Zing Radio on the Blog Talk Radio Network. Have a wonderful week, and we'll see you Sunday.
Bye.
And we are